And this is the holy gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to St. Matthew. Jesus put before the crowd another parable. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to someone who sowed good seed in his field, but while everybody was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and then went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared as well. And the slaves of the householder came and said to him, "Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from?" He answered, "An enemy has done this." The slave said to him, "Then do you want us to go and gather them?" But he replied, "No, for in gathering the weeds you would uproot the wheat along with them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time I will tell the reapers, 'Collect the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn.'" Then he left the crowds and went into the house, and his disciples approached him, saying, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds of the field." And Jesus answered, "The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom. The weeds are the children of the evil one, and the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are collected and burned up with fire, so will it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all evildoers, and they will throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Let anyone with ears listen." The gospel of the Lord. I don't think I'm an especially good person, nor do I believe I'm an especially bad person. I'm just a person. I've done good things, I've done bad things, and I hope that at the end, the balance will be in favor of the good. And I believe that most of us are like that. We're like the field in Jesus's parable, a mix of wheat and weeds, of good and bad. So I think that means that there aren't really bad people or good people in the world. There's just people, and those people choose to do good things or bad things. Of course, most of the choices we face each day are neither. They're sort of neutral. There's little moral weight, for example, in whether we choose coffee or tea in the morning, or diet soda or orange juice or whatever. I think the truth is that few of us face on a day-to-day basis real choices to do good or do evil. I have a really hard time imagining any of us waking up, rubbing our hands in glee while we cackle, imagining the wickedness we plan to unleash that day. We aren't comic book villains. No, for most of us, when confronted with weighty moral matters, the choice that we really face isn't between doing good or evil. It's between doing good and doing nothing, to speak up or to stay silent. Most people are, I think, a little self-involved, a little selfish. I know I can be. I have preferences and likes and dislikes, and I seek to have them met whenever I can. I think we all do that. It's part of being alive. We seek the things that will keep us alive or make us satisfied or happy. We need food and shelter and safety and friends and relationships. But it is an impulse that necessary can also easily get out of hand. And modern life, with its distractions and demands, tends to push us to be more selfish, I think. The marvels of the modern world make it almost possible to believe that we are truly and completely autonomous, that we don't need others, leading us to believe that only our needs and desires matter. And one of the things to which this pandemic has opened our eyes, if they weren't opened already, is how much we really are dependent upon one another. The sense of autonomy that some of us may have held has been shown to sit upon a shaky human pyramid of essential workers who make it all possible while remaining largely out of our line of sight. As Christians, though, and followers of Jesus, this really shouldn't have been a revelation. Remembering and seeing the marginalized and forgotten is kind of Jesus's whole thing. Jesus literally in the Bible goes around and pays attention to those whom society would prefer to not pay attention to and telling them, you matter. And the other important thing that Jesus does is that he gathers his followers together to build community. When Jesus ascended into heaven, that's the one thing he left behind, a group of friends working together. He sent his disciples out so that they could develop relationships with the forgotten, the overlooked, the marginalized, the essential but invisible. And our calling as the church remains the same, to build relationships, to, in the imagery of the parable, to plant the wheat seeds and to tend to them so that they grow and bear strong fruit. In fact, community, this idea of gathering together, is the Christian answer to the problem of selfishness, which leads to so much wickedness and evil. Because when we understand how much we depend on others, it can also help us to see how much others might depend on us. That there is a call to action to care for one another in Christian life. And this community, at its best, draws us out of our self-concern and allows us to live into our created selves together. Thanks be to God.